So we're going to go ahead and get started. And let me just say welcome to everybody that's here. And I know there'll be at least two more coming physically. They're on their way.
Hello to everyone out here. Hi, I'm Jennifer. I think almost everybody.
I think probably.
There, if you don't know, there's a little bit of snacks in the kitchen and water bottles and coffee and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I just want to let you know.
Yeah.
The bathroom is straight here and turn right.
Turn right. First right. After
Yeah.
you go through there,
So
you'll
just,
see it on the right.
You know, I'll be in here if you guys have any questions or anything is. All right.
So just a reminder, Eva is here to my right, and who I know through Village Sport, my personal trainer, Jesse, Carly, both of them I met at Church Project. David Klein, I met him at a Cactus Society meeting a long time ago, believe it or not. That's how we got connected. And Dolores, I met at an M3 conference at Lakewood Church 2 or 3 years ago. You remember which one it was? I mean, I don't remember.
Before the pandemic.
Well, yeah, so it would have either been the 2021, which they had, that was live, because that was still like right at the very beginning of it. And then there was 2019 and 18, I did them then too. And then Alec and Patty Liss also go to Church Project, and Patty's kind of our volunteer. She's going to be the one that nags you about things like waivers and deposits and stuff like that. So you may get email from her. Hope everybody can hear me. And then Alec himself is thinking about going to Everest Base Camp in 2023. So he's anxious to learn about some of the stuff. And then Melanie works at Church Project, and I don't know, all of a sudden one day I got a donation from her about 3 or 4 years ago, and I had no idea.
Longer back than that, mine.
4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. And I thought, who is this Melanie Spradley? You know, I had no idea how you knew me or anything. And I guess you probably been going to Church Project for what? How long?
8 years.
8 years. Okay.
Yeah.
So you must have, you saw a picture of me on the wall or something over there.
I think it was the story.
Anyway, and then online we have Bill Shannon, who's the one here that updates all of our bios. So when you have a bio done and your pictures, you need to get them to me. I'll quickly look at them, you know, make sure there is anything we want to add or subtract, and then let you know if there are any changes. And then we send them. I send them to Bill. So we need the headshot and like something with you and either in the outdoors or with your family on a mission trip or something that you want to have on your own personal page. And then that's where your bio will be as well. So that's Bill. He did Kilimanjaro in 2018. And then his wife, Michelle, did it in 2019. Anna, I met her at M3 conference also in 2018. She went to Malawi the following year, 2019. And then she did Kili in Malawi with us in 2021. And Paul here is the one who makes these crosses and stuff out of railroad spikes. So, and he's adding some new things to the collection. This will be a wall cross. He's also got yard crosses that are twice as big. And this is a Texas star. So for for donation of like, I don't think they're $50 for the wall cross, $100 for the yard cross, and 150 for this. And it's 100% of it goes to the Clean Water Collide, goes to his fundraising. So he collects these things with his wife and daughter, and he welds them together. And so he does that all out of his own pocket and time. And all the money, like I said, raised goes to his fundraising page. So anyway, I just thought I'd put that plug in a little early. And then who else we have on here? We have Anna Claire, haven't met yet, but she's Melanie's sister, and they're both going to Machu Picchu this year. And then this is kind of just a group image of everybody. So let me pray. Heavenly Father, we just praise you for this day, this beautiful day, cool and breezy and refreshing, and we thank you for that. And we're grateful for whatever day you bring us, Lord, or whatever day you've given us with another breath of life to serve you by serving others. And Father, thank you for Jesus and going to the cross for us and giving us eternal life and a purpose and a meaningful life here before we are in heaven with you. But Father, be with us, and may all of our words be uplifting to you and give you glory and not any of us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Okay, so if you have any deposits or waivers at this point, they can go in that white envelope on the table there. I think I've already got some from you. And I want to launch right into this document called Keys to successful fundraising. So let me pull that up, and I'm going to make it big so it'll cover everything up, I think. Yeah, so I've given this out to everybody, I think. And then I know, Paul, you should have got it from me. Anna, Claire, I'll get one to you for sure. Anna, I know I sent it to you because you said you were zooming in. And so I'll just make sure everybody gets it. So I want to go over this in detail. It's pretty long, but this is going to be pretty much the focus of the meeting. Oh, another thing before I forget, I'm going to pass this around. I don't think there's anybody that's here at the meeting that isn't on this list, but go ahead and check to see if your name's on there and if your email and cell phone number is up to date. I think that's the same one I passed around at the last meeting, the info meeting. Okay, so I've been fundraising for about 15 years. I started with doing the MS 150 for, British Petroleum sponsors that. The cycling ride from here to Austin, and I started doing that in 2007. And it was a little intimidating at first to ask people for money for something, but then I learned an awful lot in those first 4 years that I could apply when I started the Clean Water Climb in 2011, and I learned a lot more since then. But I've highlighted this. It says the fundamental keys to fundraising are relationships. Oh, hello, Claremans. We just started kicking it off, so grab a couple seats over there. Oh, and if you want. Okay, we just had two people come in, so about a 2-minute pause here.
Sorry.
All right. Okay, so I don't think, Mike, Gail, you weren't at the other meeting, were you? The info meeting that I had in December? Probably not.
Yeah, we were.
You zoomed in.
We
You zoomed in. Okay. So anyway, here they are live in the flesh. So Mike and Gail, we did Kilimanjaro this last year, but they went to Everest Base Camp in 2019. And so they're going to do both Machu Picchu and Everest Base Camp this year. They love it. I mean, Everest, the Himalayas,
I know.
that's how incredible the Himalayas are, that you have somebody that immediately wants to go back at the first opportunity, So anyway, everybody, that's quickly, this is Eva Hool, my personal trainer, and Mike is a personal trainer.
Hello.
So you two can start comparing notes and see who does a better job. Just as Jesse Watt, Carly Personally, yeah, they both go to Church Project. Mike and Gail, David Klein, I met a long time ago. He's done Kili with me, and we went to Argentina together. And is that it? With just those two?
Just two so far.
Just two. Gee whiz. And Dolores, Patty and Alec and our house church, and Melanie Spradley.
All your information.
Yeah, so I think everybody's introduced now. Okay, so, let me give you. Did I give out all the agendas already? Or are they sitting around? Oh, I know where they are. I know where they're. They're right here. I was gonna give them to people as they came in. Okay.
To EDC.
Just
because. So how many are going to tell me this?
Well, I have,
We're still recruiting.
so yeah, we're definitely recruiting. We have 3 of us. There's another guy in Tennessee
Okay.
going, and then this guy, Billy Zarko, church. He said Billy Zarko, William Zarko, he said he wants to go. He said he'd be here and give me a deposit check today. I haven't seen him yet, but it'll grow. Yeah.
Yes, myself too. So if I make notes or whatever.
Yep. Yeah, on the last page of that big staple document is a whole empty piece of paper you can take lots of notes on. Okay, so like I said, fundamental keys to fundraising are relationships and persistence. And you see there, after relationships, it says people give to people, not to projects. And the first time I heard that, I thought, what does that mean? I thought, why? I mean, there's lots of good projects out there. But the guy that made this presentation on fundraising said, if somebody said, gee, I want to give money to water in Africa, are they going to go on to Google and just start Googling give water in Africa? And then they're going to see like 100 organizations, and they're not going to know the one from another, right? So, but the fact that you're raising money for water in Africa, and people know you, And they appreciate the fact that you're paying for this whole trip out of your own pocket, and every penny that you raise goes to this ministry. That's why people give to people, not to projects. They respect you. They know that you've already looked into this. You believe in what the ministry is. You're willing to spend your money to go on the trip. And wait, what?
My pen quit working.
Pen user error? The cap was on the wrong side. Yeah.
Actually, I was gonna get one.
Yeah, and there's also pens over here if anybody wants one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
clean
you,
water
but
pen
I
pen.
don't know about the right.
Yeah. There you go. If anybody needs a pen, let me know. So anyway, and persistence. So what does it mean? You know, relationships are like I just said, it's your relationships. People, I mean, I'll get a handful of donations every year that I don't know who this person is. Just a handful of them. And it's because I put something on Facebook and maybe somebody that I do know on Facebook shared it with their friends, and all of a sudden I get this donation. But 99% of my donations are going to be from people I know. Okay. And so that's the relationship part of it. Persistence comes from passion. You can't be, persistent unless you're passionate. And where does passion come from? Passion comes from knowledge, right? Passion comes from God's word. Whoever gives a cup of water in my name, Jesus said, surely shall not lose their inheritance. So Jesus even brings up the idea of giving clean water to children. But knowledge that includes everything about child legacy. Okay. And let's just go to their website real quick, and I'll just show you what that looks like. So here's Child Legacy's website. So, they not only do water, they do a lot of things. I think most people here probably know that, but they do medical care. So if you go to their website, you can read the story, what their mission is, some of the staff, board of directors, financials, if you're really into all that, who we serve. Okay, they work in Zimbabwe and they work in Malawi. And what do we do? Okay, education, food and farming, healthcare, clean water, vocational training, salvation, renewable energy, agriculture, aquaculture, and then contact information. So that's what that website looks like. And so that's where some of your knowledge is going to come from. You can learn about the Clean Water Climb. I mean, a lot of you know about the Clean Water Climb already, but if you want to know a little bit more about some of the other things Child Legacy does, and it'll help start building your passion. Okay, so get back to the my documents. Ooh, what happened to my document? Okay, I guess I have to open it again. I don't know what happened there. Oh, okay, there it is. So, ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think they have some statistics that like I threw in one or two in my like fundraising
letter
requests to, to just show like the number of children got better or whatever. Right.
Yeah, so go there to start learning more about child legacy. Okay, and specifically, obviously, about the problem of clean water, clean drinking water. And as you build your knowledge and you read more and you consume more, you'll start naturally becoming passionate, which is going to lead to being persistent. And I'll tell you what persistent means later. You must use every means possible to fundraise to be successful, because you'll not necessarily have everyone's physical address. You'll not necessarily have an email address for everyone, and not everyone uses social media. So it's like a three-pronged approach. In fact, it's even more than that. It could be up to 5 prongs, so it's critical you don't put all your eggs in one basket, like an event. Sometimes people think, well, I'm just going to put on an event and that's going to be great. We're just going to have a ton of people come and they're all going to donate something. And sometimes those can flop and you can spend more money on the event than you actually get in return. So be careful about events, though. There's a lot of these restaurants and stuff, at least a couple of years ago, up until 2 years ago. I don't know if they're still doing it now with the pandemic, but like Chick-fil-A, for example, they'll do what they call spirit night. I think Genghis, they've done the spirit night. So that would be an event you could do that really doesn't cost you that much, right? You just let everybody know in your email list and Facebook, hey, anybody that goes to Genghis or Chick-fil-A on such and such a date, they're going to donate 20% to Child Legacy. And at the end of the event, they'll get you a check or we'll send it to Child Legacy. We just need to let Child Legacy know that money goes towards your goal. that would be a safe event to do, unless you're just a big event person, you've done a lot of them and you have a lot of experience. So, so I say start by getting organized, make a list of everyone you can think of to communicate with. We're talking about family, business colleagues, neighbors, church friends, community group friends, new friends. And then this is how you can communicate with them. I would say it's very important to do a fundraising letter. Okay, it's a one-time thing. You're not going to be sending multiple ones in the mail, but a fundraising letter is good because when you do a fundraising letter, this is, I'm going to pass this around a little while. Here's my very first one I did in 2011. And people get this in the mail and they have to decide what to do with it, right? I mean, if they know you, remember, people give to people, not to projects. If they know you, they're going to have a hard time just throwing this in the trash. But if you send them an email, they may say, okay, I got to look at that later. And before long, it's way down at the bottom and they've totally forgot about it, which leads me to the persistence thing. Friend of mine once said, I don't know, it was about a month before the climb, and all of a sudden I get this $5,000 donation. I go, oh, man. And I thanked him right away. And he said, he was apologizing for waiting so long to make the donation. I'm thinking, why you apologize? I don't understand. It's a month before the trip, but this is great. And he goes, Mike, the secret to your success is you're persistent. And I go, oh man, he said this in the email. I think, oh man, I'm being a pest, right? That's what persistence means. I'm a pest. And I said, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know I was such a pest. He goes, no. I get your emails once a month, which is my recommended email attack, right? Once a month. And every time your email came in, with the latest, like, here's where I'm at, and this is how much I still need. And if you're considering donating, you still have time. He said, every time your email came in, I was either rushing off to a meeting, my desk was just cluttered, or I had a phone call or something. There was always something going on, or my inbox was already full of stuff that I had to address. But today, when your email came in, this time I had no meeting, I had no brush fires, inbox was pretty clean, and it was the perfect time. And I thought, wow, that's really a good comment, because and it's true, right? I mean, how many of you get emails and it's all of a sudden you've totally forgot about it? And so I think that was the idea about being persistent, not being a pest, but maybe just gentle reminders once a month by email. That's anyway. So fundraising letter, one-time mailing, and it takes money. It is said it takes money to make money, right? So for a little cost to get these things printed up, stick a stamp on it, send it off to friends, neighbors, loved ones, whatever. It's going to cost you a little bit, but it's really worthwhile, because when they get that, if they know you, it's just not going to be easy to throw it in the trash. Email, I do like maybe once a month, and I increase in frequency until once a week the month before the trip. That's not really worded very well. So once a month, and then the last month before the trip, I might send out an email once a week and just let everybody know. And I always say in my emails and social medias, I always say, if you're still considering, you want to be gentle. If you're still considering giving to my fundraising goal, there's still time. And this is where I'm at. And, I'm getting closer every day. However you want to say it, but just be gentle. If you say, if you're still considering, I mean, that's a very gentle way to ask people for money. And in social media, I'll try to put something out there once a week. And then the last maybe month or the last 2 weeks of leading up to the trip, I might do something every day. I might just do a really short thing, grab a photo from a past trip, put my link out there and shoot it off, right? Something short. And then face to face, okay, there might be a few key people that God puts on your heart to ask if you could have a meeting with them. Hey, can I have a meeting with you for 15 minutes over coffee? I'd like to tell you about this trip to Africa, or this trip to Machu Picchu or Everest Base Camp, and why I'm doing it. And for those going to Kilimanjaro, you're also going to go on to Malawi and help the people there, and stay at Child Legacies Project and so forth. But anyway, just, a face-to-face meeting can be effective with some people. Do something crazy. Okay, and then finally events. So those are kind of like the six approaches to fundraising. I think in order of impact, I think they're pretty close to being the order I would think they impact. Fundraising letter, email, social media, face-to-face. Face-to-face might be higher, I don't know. So let's talk about the fundraising letter now. Put your heart and passion into it. You've studied Child Legacy's website, maybe you've looked at the Clean Water Climb websites, and you're starting to get passion, and you're gonna start writing this fundraising letter. Now, I probably should have put in here before that the fundraising letter starting point could be your bio on the cleanwaterclimb.net website. So maybe you write, you got to write you don't want to send the fundraising letter out until you have a bio and a link, right, on cleanwaterclimb.net. So you really have to do that first before you send the fundraising letter out, but we'll talk about that. So anyway, put your heart and passion in it. Tell everyone what you're doing, why you're doing this. In the case of Kilimanjaro, you could say, I'm doing the hardest thing I've ever done, climb Kilimanjaro, the highest peak in Africa. Or if you think Rainbow Mountain is going to be the hardest thing you've ever done, to say the same thing. Or Everest Base Camp, if those are the first things you're doing, and I hope if they are, you come back and do Kili with us in the future year, tell them it's the hardest thing you've ever done. If you think it is, or one of the hardest things you've ever done. And of course, it's a fundraising event to raise awareness and funds for Child Legacy's Water Well Ministry. And then when you're finished with the hike, in the case of Africa, you're going to go to Malawi with Child Legacy to help repair some wells that has been funded by them and other donors. So obviously that part applies to just the Africa trip. Self-funding, tell everyone, and this is pretty impactful. Tell everyone in your letter, you're not asking for money to fund your trip. You're paying for the entire trip out of your pocket. This is very, very important, and that's going to impress a lot of people. Sometimes, traditionally in churches, there's a lot of short-term mission trips, and often people ask for money to go on the mission trip, right? Which I understand. There's some value in that, but this is totally a different kind of a trip, right? All these trips are a different kind of trip where you're going on this adventure that you're really going to like, personally, but it's also, especially in the case of Malawi, it's going to really impact you spiritually, hopefully, and emotionally. When you see the conditions there and you compare them to how we live, you're going to go, whoa, this was life-changing. And that's what happened to me in 2007 when I first went to Africa. So you're going to self-fund. Teammates, tell them who you're going with, who's leading the trip. In the case of if I'm the leader of the trip, like EBC or Kili, I've led people multiple times on Kilimanjaro and Malawi. I've done EBC twice now. This will be my third time. Kevin, none of us, thank you very much. None of us have gone to Machu Picchu. So this is going to be a first for everybody, including our team leader. So we're excited about Machu Picchu and Rainbow Mountain. I mean, you can certainly put it in there. Hey, this is a first, but you're going with a group of experienced people.
Kevin Talley's never been to Machu Picchu?
Oh, panic.
Okay.
Give me my check back.
No, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
On various emails.
Okay, yeah. Well, and the problem with Peru,
Okay.
Peru is, for those who are going on the Machu Picchu trip, they keep changing the rules. Like just the other day, they said, okay, you can't have 12 in a group anymore, it has to be 10. So we already had 32 people or 35. So that means 4 groups now, 4 groups of 10. Three are doing the camping Rainbow Mountain, and 1 group is doing, the Machu Picchu only trip. So he has room for 5 more people, so you know anybody. But it's driving them crazy, especially when you have 35 people. Talking about herding cats. I mean, the biggest group I've ever had to anywhere, Kilimanjaro, was 17, and that was pretty hectic. but he's got 35 people to manage, and they keep popping up every day, new ones. And then Peru changes rules, so it's got to be driving them crazy. So let's talk a little bit about Child Legacy. Tell them about Child Legacy International. That's who you're raising the funds for. Now, this next one, F, where it says, tell them that Child Legacy has been given a 4-star rating by Charity Navigator, which is the highest rating you can get. However, when COVID hit, money, so they're not a 4-star right now. So as things get better again, as we come out of the pandemic, I'm quite confident we'll be back to 4 stars. I think they reduced us down because we didn't have enough money coming in, but they probably did that to almost everybody. I don't know.
Well, I thought it was because they didn't get you have to get a certain like accounting firm that costs a lot of money to do certain
You
reports for Guide
you
Star.
could be right that
And
we're a year behind on
Because we
that.
didn't have enough money.
Because we didn't have enough money, we couldn't
They
get that.
followed the same like
Yeah.
financial procedures that
Yeah.
they always had.
Yeah.
They just didn't have enough money to pay for the external
the
auditor.
Audit thing,
That's
yeah,
super expensive.
Yeah,
To be able to get the Guide Star thing.
Yeah.
So because that bothered me a little bit.
Yeah.
But
but it was like 4 or 5 years in a row there, we were doing great, and then when, I think COVID hit, and then maybe that was the reason we couldn't get the, yeah, I think you're right, that sounds familiar, I knew it had something to do with money. So anyway, you might want to leave that part out right now, because if we went there, we'd probably show that we're only 2 stars. Let me make this bigger again. Maybe, I don't know why it does that. I don't know why it goes to 2 pages. Let's go back. Anyway, okay, so it's a 501c3 faith-based nonprofit. We've been repairing wells since 2008. And be sure to include this map in your letter or package. So I'm going to pass around at the end of this the package that I would give to people. Okay, tell people what your goal is. You know, make it reasonable, yet prayerful and faith-filled fundraising goal. I had somebody once that said, I mean, he loved the talk and everything that I gave at this church someplace a few years ago. It was 2014. And he wanted to then sign up for the 2015. And he came to me and said, okay, I think I can raise $100,000. Whoa, that'd be incredible if you could raise that. Well, about a week before the trip, I think it was like 8,500, you know, I mean, which is good, but he approached me, he said, Mike, I think I need to lower my fundraising goal to 10,000. So, you know, I mean, I love his heart, you know, and desire to raise this huge amount. And maybe he was super wealthy, I don't know, or maybe he had super wealthy close friends and thought he could do it. So I didn't say anything in the beginning, but it just, you know, make it a reasonable goal. We'd like everybody on these trips, the hiking trips, to raise 5,000, you know, kind of as a starting point goal. And so maybe start with a little higher than that, like 6,500 or something, because that way you might actually exceed the 5. I don't know. If you just put 5, you know, some people might think, well, they're almost there. But if you make it a little higher, and then you'll go past the 5, so you'll do what we would like everybody to do is 5. So, but if you have a really big network, you could set a little bigger goal than that. And then if a small network, maybe slightly smaller. But try to think of 5,000 as the base, right? And you're gonna get donations from people that you would have no idea that they could give you that much. And then there's gonna be some people, you know, that are very wealthy that aren't gonna give you anything. And that's because they're probably already giving to 100 things, right? So, and that's a reminder to me to never judge people because they give or not, you know, that everybody's got their own unique situation. You don't know what they're going through financially. You don't know if they're already involved with a lot of other organizations, and this is one too many. So try not to think that way. But to reach your goal, sometimes I'll list, okay, if I could get 10 $1,000 donations, and, you know, Y number of 500 and Z number of 250, I'll get to my overall goal. So tailor that to your goal. And you can put that in your letter. I just need, this is, and so somebody might see, gee, this person needs 20 $100 donations, and they'll think I can do that, you know, or somebody else might say, well, I can do 1,000, or I can do a whole well, 1,250, right? So if you give people this list of choices, somebody will say, well, I think I can do that one. And then it helps them visualize in a tangible way how you can get to your goal. So to donate, they can give by check, by credit card, or your PayPal link. Now, if you go to your PayPal link, it gives you those 3 options, actually. It gives you PayPal, it gives you credit card, and it also shows you where they can send a check to, made out to Child Legacy. So this is kind of what the format of the link looks like, right? It'll be www.cleanwaterclimb.net. And actually, if you have a unique name, you can just say cleanwaterclimb.net/EVA. For example, if you're the first EVA to ever hike on one of our trips, that's all you need. You don't need Kilimanjaro team, you don't need first name, last name, or anything. But in the case of, and Mike and Gail might be the same because it's Mike and Gail. I'm also Mike. So I just always use cleanwaterclimb.net/Mike. But there's sometimes when somebody's already done it in the past, then it turns out that short abbreviated thing is already being used. But we'll get you the link. Leverage. People love to see their money leveraged. Somebody who told me to go to Malawi in 2009, Denny McGuire, taught me the principles of leverage. Like, you've already paid for your trip. You still have some excess money that you donate towards your own goal. But rather than donate it towards your own goal, tell people that, hey, I'm going to donate $1 for every dollar that's donated, or 10 cents per dollar, or whatever. And so people see that, oh, they're gonna put some of their own money into this thing too. That's a powerful thing to add if you can, and maybe you can't, and that's okay. This list of stuff we're going through is not necessarily you're going to do every one of these things, right? But you're gonna pick and choose what you think is going to be best for you in your fundraising letter. You can tell people that on average, each well repair benefits 1,950 people. Now it's gone down a little bit because the last couple of years, it seems like the villages they're fixing are smaller and smaller. In the beginning, it seems like they were hitting up the really big ones, trying to hit the biggest villages first. So at one time it was actually over 2,000, maybe 2,080 or something was the average. And because of some of these smaller villages, for example, I calculated what I think was the 3,000th well that the Clean Water Climb has sponsored. And when I say sponsored, so I had Mark Prevish, who makes all these well reports up for us for the donors. So anybody that donates $12.50 gets a well report, right? It'll say sponsored by and the person's name. It'll have community statistics. Here was the alternative water. Here's how the well repair went. What kind of improvements were made? How many people, heard the gospel and decided to give their lives to the Lord? And on the back are all the corporate donors. But I think this was very close to being. We've had over 5,200 unique donors. 5,200 unique donors since the Clean Water Climb started in 2011. And this was very, it's hard to know for sure if all the data is accurate or not, but I think this was the 3,000th well, and that happened in 2021. And this particular village was small, 225 people is all in this village. And anyway, so that's what I mean when the numbers have drifted down a little bit. If you look at everything from 2008 through 2021, the average number of people is 1,950. Sometimes these villages will serve more than one village, and the chief will tell you that. So then statistics. You could include some statistics about Malawi and contaminated water in general in your letter. There is a document on the Clean Water Climb website. So somebody remind me to pull the actual Clean Water Climb website up at the end, and I'll show you some of these things that I'm talking about. But there's a document out there called Water the Facts. You can check that out. It has a bunch of statistics about, how many people die from clean water, and how many people estimated in the world that don't have clean water, both worldwide and then Malawi numbers. Average cost to repair wells, $1,250. So let's say your goal was $5,000 and you had 4 different people that wanted to sponsor a well, you've met your goal. That could happen, but maybe not. So just to give you an idea what the $5,000 goal is, and you can put that in your letter. I hope to raise $5,000 at a minimum, and that'll be enough to bring water to 4 wells, 4 villages and schools. And that's going to be about, and then take 4 times 1,950, how many people that represents, right? Now, if they do donate $1,250 more, like I said, they'll receive a hard copy well report for each village or school water well repair that they sponsor. And I'm going to pass this around in a couple minutes, but kind of like the other one. This is a well report. there's my letter, and then we'll talk about that at the end also. The form. So, yeah, I would give them a sample well report, but I'll talk about that some more later. Okay, corporate sponsored gifts. So tell people if they donate $150 or more, they'll receive a gift commemorating their participation. And none of their money or anybody else's money that are donating to different fundraisers goes to those items. This is all paid for by corporate sponsors. And corporate sponsors are on the back of each well report. So we had 11 corporate sponsors in 2021, which is actually the most we've ever had. It was a very good year for that. And part of that came from, I just needed to be bolder and ask people, which I wasn't as bold as I should have been in previous years. I mean, it was about everybody was asking and say, yeah, I can do that. So they're meant to be a thank you, but they're also going to help spread the word about the Clean Water Climb. Like if it ends up being a water bottle and it'll say Clean Water Climb on it, and somebody will see you drinking out of that and they'll say, hey, what's that about? Whatever the item is, it also helps advertise for future trips and recruiting people. Okay, lists and or banner. I also take 2 copies of a list of everyone who gave any amount until the very last moment before leaving for Africa. In fact, often I stop at Kinko's and get it and have the latest list, and I laminate it on the way to the airport just to get everybody on the list that have donated. And I hang it on the back of my pack. And then I have an unlaminated one folded up in my backpack that I bury at the top of Kilimanjaro or Everest Base Camp or whatever. And I tell everybody, I'm going to put you on my list. And sometimes people want to be on it just because they want to be on my list. Photos and resources. You might want to put in your letter, the logo or you could put the map in there. This is 2011. Some pictures of different scenes from the different trips in Malawi. So you could put some of those in your letter, and there's 2 places you can find those. And those are some older ones. I really haven't had time to add more photos, but there's still some really good ones out there, both on Facebook and on cleanwaterclimb.net. And feel free to download any of them and use high quality, sharp in focus photos. Corporate sponsors. So I mentioned that. And for a minimum of $500, any company or community partner like a church or a business, we can put their logo on Clean Water Climb's website for a year. Will be on the Clean Water Climb banner that we take to the top of the mountains, and on the back of every water well report, on the back of the t-shirts. So all the logos are on the back of the t-shirts that go to the sponsors as well as the participants. And if we do water bottles, we might get the logos on there unless there's too many of them. And let me show you the banner. So this is the banner from 2011. 2021. So maybe somebody can help me there. Maybe we'll hold it that end and just. Yeah, so we'll take this to the top of whatever mountain we're climbing, whether it's Hilly, Rainbow Mountain, or Everest Base Camp, and
You carry that on.
yeah, we'll carry it up there. And so anyway, we put everybody's logos on there. What?
We had help.
Yeah, we have help. We have porters. We have porters and guides that help us. So anyway, that's what that looks like. And maybe we could, let's see, let's turn it around so that camera can see it. It's up there. Yeah. So anyway, out there in Zoom land, I don't know if you can see, I'm sharing the screen. You probably can't see this right now. So never mind. Well,
Yeah, you can see it in if people can see the group photo. Yeah, there's one with us as a group.
oh, yeah. Oh, you're right. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's what it looks like for those in Zoom land out there. Okay, thanks. Okay, you want to do it? Thank you. So the corporate sponsors get some notoriety in 4 different ways: shirts, well reports, website, and banner. I always put in my letter, prayer requests that that everybody's safe on the trip, and We pass all the COVID tests. You can add that. I've never said that before, but that's something you would ask. Yeah, okay, that's great. Thank you. You know, and that you're successful in reaching or exceeding your fundraising goal, and thank them in advance for their prayers. Corporate matching. So sometimes employers match. Like when I worked at Southwestern Energy, any employee that donated to Child Legacy's Clean Water Climb could apply for a match from Southwestern Energy. And man, one year, I think we raised like about 120,000 or something from the company, from company employees. And that match all went to build one of the buildings at Child Legacy's project in Malawi. That was incredible. Trip help. I'm just gonna say that, you know, if you absolutely need help going on the trip, like the Africa trip, I wouldn't ask for any expenses help for Everest Base Camp or Machu Picchu, because there's no really mission part of that trip, right? But when we go to Africa, there is a mission component, going out to the wells, fixing the wells, sharing Christ. And so there is a mission aspect. So for that trip, if you need some help for maybe the airfare, that would be the only thing. I wouldn't ask for help for the safari. I wouldn't ask for help for the guide fee and the porters and all that on Kilimanjaro. You might consider asking, but the very last line there, remember, every dollar donated for your expenses is a dollar less for clean water. So just keep that in mind. So fundraising package put together. You've done all the writing now. Actually, I probably should have said letter length first, but that's okay. I wouldn't make your fundraising letter more than one piece of paper, right? It could be 8.5 by 14 or 8.5 by 11, double-sided, but I wouldn't make it. Like one year I did like a book, and it was a bit much. Just make it simple, right? And so I would then hand people or send in the mail at least 3 things. This, you know, sample well report, and there's some of them on the website, and I'll show you where to get your actual fundraising letter, right? And then in this form, okay, the form is okay. Not a lot of people use them, but on the back of the form is the map, this map right here. So the map that shows all the well repairs since 2008. And this has just been updated by Bill. And we got all the lat longs in from the crew. And you can see all the blue dots on there are the wells repaired from 2008 to 2020, 4,607 wells, benefiting about 9 million people, 59,000 salvations. In 2021, we had a good year, much better than 2020. 341 wells were sponsored, 500,000 beneficiaries, 3,000 salvations. So the totals, this is going to be a big year, 2022. We're going to break 5,000 wells repaired as a ministry, the whole ministry, Child Legacy, and we're going to break 10 million people in terms of beneficiaries. Because we're at 49, 48 wells, 9.6 million people. So, but on this side of the form is like, if people, sometimes people want to get something like this in their hands, right? They want to check a box, like, so there's places that check a box on how much to give, and then they want to write a check, and then they'll give this back to you with their check, or maybe they just want to put the credit card information on here and then give you this, and then you'll get it to me. Now, you can also do credit card through the website. You don't have to use PayPal on the website, but we do get every year a few of these kind of things filled out. So I would give them this, because not just because of the form, but more importantly, because of the visual of the map and where Child Legacy has been doing its work. So I'm going to pass this around. Now, there's also a corporate form here. If you think it's somebody that is, you know, if you want to go to somebody that's a head of a company or works at a company that has impact in terms of stuff like this, and you know they have a philanthropy bent towards that company, this is the corporate sponsorship form. Same thing on the back, but they can pick whatever level that they want to be a corporate sponsor, knowing that that money is going to go to the swag that's given to all the donors above a certain amount. So you wouldn't necessarily give this to everybody, but certain people. But I'm going to pass this around. You can take a look at it. All this is on the Clean Water Climb website. Okay. I'm going to pass this kind of laminated version of the map around, just so that you can get a closer look at it. Just feel free to look at it and pass it around. Okay, so you've written your letter, and that's going to be a one-time mailing, right? And be sure to put your link. You might want to write that down in the notes. I'm not sure I put that in this, add this to the letter, your link. So people can just literally do it that way. Okay, so email and social media, I kind of lump them together. I would give people regular updates, like I said, and always include your web link. Once you have this web link, which you're going to get from us, once I've got your bio and your headshot and your more family shot or camping shot or mission trip shot, those two high def pictures and your bio, then we're going to Bill Shannon will create the link for you, and we'll get that to you right away. In fact, he'll probably make a small donation just to see if it works, and you'll already have some money. So I tend to do it, emails, like I said, maybe monthly, and then maybe working my way up to bi-weekly until the very last month of the trip, then maybe weekly. Okay. And like I said earlier, Mike, the key to your success is you're persistent. And there's a little discussion there, like I thought maybe I was a pest, and then he told me. What?
Relentless is a better word.
Okay. So, we have a Clean Water Climb Facebook page, and we also have Child Legacy has a Facebook page. So if you haven't liked those two, please do that, because that grows the presence in social media. I might put I've done this in the past, I haven't had time, I might put a Facebook group together. And I'm not sure if I should do like 3 separate ones for 3 different trips, or if I should just have one and just put everybody in there that wants to, be in it, and you have to accept the invitation, right? And that way, like somebody says, well, what kind of boots do I need to get again? And then, if I answer it, then everybody gets to see the answer in case, 5 other people have the same question. That's always a lot easier and time efficient than for 5 people to ask you the same question in private emails. Anyway, not that you can't do that and call me, but Facebook groups sometimes can be handy for stuff like that. Face to face, I mentioned that. Maybe a few key people that God leads you to, like you want to ask, you want to literally have a little 15-minute presentation on what you're doing and why, and you're going to leave them that fundraising package that I'm passing around. Then you can do something crazy. So in 2013, I started seeing people previously on the MS-113, BPMS 150, doing things like mohawks and stuff like that. So I thought, I'm going to do a mohawk. And so I did. I did a mohawk 4 years in a row, and it really helped a lot in the fundraising. I was surprised. People loved it. So I did a red mohawk in 2013, and then I did a pink one in 2014, and I did a what I call the V-Hawk. So that was when Southwestern Energy had their little formula, I don't even remember the formula. Bill, what was the formula? They've scrubbed it off of the building. Let's see, V equals, no, V.
Yeah, value add,
value is
return, return from your assets.
Yeah, right. Plus.
Invested properly.
Yeah, V plus, right? V plus value added was something to do with assets, wisely investing.
Wisely invest your assets.
Yeah, that was it, right? They don't have it on the building anymore, but so I did a mohawk that had the company formula kind of in my head, different cuts on my head. So then I did what I call the patriotic one. My beard was getting pretty white by 2016, and so I did blue for the hair, red goatee, and the rest of the beard was white. So it was kind of a patriotic mohawk. And so anyway, so let's see if I go back up here. I could say, guys, try to do mohawk. Get brave, right? Ladies, you might consider dyeing the tips of your hair blue. I know some ladies who have done that on one of these fundraisers before. So, whatever you feel brave doing. Okay, miscellaneous. This is where we want to talk about your bio so we can get your link, right? So I need your bio, I need 2 photos and your fundraising goal, if it's not 5,000, right? As soon as possible. So let's get you out there on the website, and then you can put that in your fundraising letter, and you can start sharing it on Facebook and email and that sort of thing. Again, in my signature, I always have my link, because you never know when somebody's going to say, oh, that's right, Mike's raising money for clean water. Let's see, is his link in his email? Oh yeah, there it is, click. If it's always there, and you can do that through Outlook, you can set it up. I always send a quick thank you within a day or two, whenever I get either a check donation or an online donation. Just a quick note to let them know, hey, your $100 donation is going to bring water to 150 people, in 2022. And we can do the numbers on that. I always send a more of a comprehensive thank you email out in general. I used to, and I really don't have time anymore. I used to send an individual letter of thanks with pictures of the trip to all the donors. Now it's kind of gotten down to the point is I just send it out at Christmas, right? I make it a combination Christmas card and thank you card. I used to have time to do both, but I don't anymore. But some of you may have time to do an actual thank you letter, kind of like the fundraising letter, right? You never know if you do this trip and you decide, gee, I want to go to Everest Base Camp the following year. So some of those same people that donate will be remembering that you thank them for their donation. Hey, I'm going to do that again. And I think, somebody told me the fact that I keep doing the same thing every year is why that's another reason the fundraising has grown so much. I mean, I couldn't believe it last year. I raised 285,000. I mean, that was just in 2021. That was nuts. Very first year, my goal was 10,000 in 2011. And I think I raised about 20. So that was still, I was very happy about that. But just from 2011, a goal of 10 and 20, by the time 2021 came, it's already up to 285. I mean, it's just nuts. And the same people, you always get new ones, but then there's these ones that have been giving every year. They just keep giving every year. And a lot of them have given more as time gone on. They've added more to their donation from year to year. So it's just, you never know. Take advantage of December. Well, we're past that. So I read a statistic once that said 31% of all giving occurs in the month of December. It's because of taxes, right? Everybody's thinking, oh, I need to give some more so I can get a deduction. And 12% of all giving in the United States happens the last 3 days of the year. So sorry I didn't tell you that before. Sometimes we have this meeting in December. Anyway, you might give a surprise gift to your biggest givers. I've given, Kilimanjaro paintings. Starting in 2016, I've been giving limited edition signed prints of original paintings. That's a painting up there above the mantle that this Malawian artist is pretty famous, actually, did for me. What?
The Seki?
No, not Seki. No, this is another guy that I know in Malawi. And then the one above that cabinet over there, he also did that one. A little hard to see. And then he did this one for me, this montage for 2020, because that was the 10th anniversary. So he took a lot of my pictures I sent him, and he put together that Prairie Peak and Purpose, right? So Prairie Peak and Purpose is what Kilimanjaro has evolved to be. Okay. So finally, very last part of this, it says the fundraising suggestions above are not necessarily in the same order that might be utilized in your letter. And also you're not going to use all of them. That's just too much, right? So pick the ones that make sense to you. And if you want to send it to me and get my opinion, to see if there's anything that's maybe missing or something like that. I'm not sure why this is red. It's light on here, but anyway, don't worry about that. Anyway, I'd be happy to proofread it for you. But let's work on those of you who are not on the website yet. And David and Mike and Gail, all three of you are doing 2 trips, Machu Picchu and Everest, right? You're doing 3? What's the other one? Quandary. Oh, you're going to do Quandary in September. I didn't know that. Okay, good. So yeah, I'm going to do a Colorado trip. So if anybody wants to do Colorado in September, do Quandary Peak with me, that'd be great. But I'm not even advertising that right now. But yeah, you're doing 3. But what was I going to say about all that? I was going to say something about the fact that you guys are doing 2 of them. I can't remember what it was. But
Something about bio.
yeah. Oh, I know what it was. So we have a team page called Multiple Mountains. Okay, so like I'm on that page, and Kevin Talley's on that page, and I've asked Bill to move you guys and you to the Multiple Mountains page, right? You're part of several teams. So rather than be on just one page, you're still gonna be on the individual pages, your pictures and your link, but then we have a separate one called Multiple Mountains team. So anyway, that was what I was gonna say about that. Okay, I'm done with this now. let's see, let's look at this. Are there any? Okay. We talked about all these, we talked about the document, we talked about these different ways, events, do something crazy, face-to-face, social media, email, and fundraising letter. Okay, I showed you the Child Legacy website. Now I want to show you, because a lot of the stuff I've been talking about, some of it anyway, and some of the stuff I've handed out, and those forms, for example, I didn't hand you everybody a form. You can easily download it from cleanwaterclimb.net. So let me pull that up. Okay, here's our cleanwaterclimb.net website. Okay, and Bill has done an incredible job of really building this thing. And I just want to show you why climb. You know, you can direct people to this if you want. Meet the climbers. So these are going to be all the team pages. So like if I was to, for example, if I was to click on multiple mountains, there's pictures of Mike and Gail, David, myself, and then Kevin and Lisa Talley. So, and then there's other teams, obviously. Go back here, like Kilimanjaro team. I don't think we have anybody on there yet because I don't have any bios from you guys.
I looked at it today. There's one guy on there.
Oh, is it Logan?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay, that's right. Yeah, that's from last year. But for the multiple mountain people, you may want to look at what's written there because you may want to revise it to say you're doing more than one trip, right? You might add- Yeah.
Or can we?
Can you what? No, you have to send it to me. Yeah, just email it to me. Yeah, so if anybody's doing more than one mountain, send me any kind of revised bio that you want to do. Okay, so join a trip, that's just got the flyers, past trips, testimonials. I need to update that. I've gotten so many, bless you. Okay, let's look at backpack. And here's another link to get to Child Legacy, FYI. Backpack. Go to backpack. There's a lot of stuff here. It's almost all up to date. It still has a 2021 team meeting schedule, so don't worry about that. Here's the waivers. If you don't have one, and I ran out or not, but you can download the waivers and print them. And so there's the Clean Water Climb waivers, the one that goes to Child Legacy. And then Zara Tours waiver, that's for the Kilimanjaro trip only. We'll get into Africa preparation at a future meeting. I think in March is when I want to do that. The stories we share in Malawi, Kilimanjaro preparation. Okay, fundraising for clean water. This is the part I wanted you to see. There's a bio form here. Like if you're trying to figure out, what do I put in this thing? Well, you can look at lots of examples, right? Mm-hmm. If you go to support a climber, and let's say you go to, well, let's just go to Everest Base Camp. Let's see who's there. So right now we have Mike and Gail, Paul and Meredith. I mean, you just click on any one of these and you can see what they've written, right? If you scroll down below the place to donate, you can read their bio, and you can get tons of examples. Go to past climbers.
Man, y'all are on it, Paul. Jeez.
Yeah, look at that. That's from Killy.
The railroad spike things have gone quite well.
Yeah, Paul raised $30,000 selling these crosses last year. 30,000. It's unbelievable. Congratulations, Paul. I mean,
thanks. No problem, Mike.
What? Yeah. Anyway, but let's go back to backpack, and let's go to number 5, fundraising for clean water. So this is going to apply to everybody, no matter what trip, right? It's got the map out there. It's got fundraising 101, the document that we just went through. It's got the 3,000th water well repair right here. So like if you wanted to print that out and show people, Clean Water Climb has raised enough money it's over 5,200 generous donors since 2011. And all those sponsors together have done over 3,000 wells. And which, Clean Water Climb started in 11, Child Legacy started fixing wells in 08. So, and we've gradually increased our footprint more and more to the point now that almost all the fundraising comes from the Clean Water Climbs, right? There's a few others. Every once in a while, somebody runs across the Child Legacy website and makes a donation for clean water. But in general, Sorry about the sun in your eyes.
I can move them.
Okay,
Want my sunglasses?
I have them.
okay, so
It'll be gone.
clean water climb well repair process. If somebody wants to know, there's a little document out here that kind of talks about what we did in 2020, I believe. No, 2019. So this is a sample snapshot of what we did in 2019. You know, how many climbers tackled? We had like 48 people in 2019 hit up Kilimanjaro, Malawi, Everest Base Camp, Chimborazo, Appalachian Trail, and Mount of the Holy Cross. Those are the events we did in 2019. We raised almost 400,000, 311 wells repaired. How many adults and children? So anybody, it's just, and then here's an example of alternative water sources and the repair process and just kind of the joy and the celebration of clean water. I mean, you could download this and print this and give it to people if you want. It's just another kind of tool in your toolkit. Okay, clean water climb story. That's really kind of how it started for me, how it all came about. Clean water observations. One day I sat down and I thought about water, and I thought, living in the United States, that without even a second thought, I washed my dishes, washed my car, washed myself, washed my clothes, washed my windows, washed my dog, watered my lawn, cooked my food, brushed my teeth, rinsed my sinuses, flushed my toilets, filled my swimming pool, mopped the floor, filled balloons with it, made ice with it, drink it. And yes, I would waste it. And then I went to Sudan and Uganda and Kenya, Tanzania, Zambia, and then Malawi. And I can't take clean, fresh water for granted anymore. I'm constantly, when I'm washing dishes or something like that, I'm just constantly always turning the water off. You know, I just don't let it run. And it's impactful. And so that's just some of my observations.
You even don't take shower now.
Yeah, I didn't take one that one day.
Military
It
shower.
was on the Facebook.
I put it on Facebook one day.
I'm
That's one thing nice about being
thinking about-
retired, you know, you can kind of hang out. If you don't have anything going that day, you can kind of hang out in your pajamas. And after lunch, you finally realize, gee, I don't really think I need to take a shower today. And I saved some water, and I saved a little bit on my water bill, you know, I mean. There's a bunch of sample fundraising letters out here. Look at all these letters. These are all letters that people have written over the years that they've given me. So you can just read all kinds of fundraising letters to get ideas of what others have done. Donation forms. So those 2 donation forms that were circulating around there, you can download them here. Logos. You may want to use the Child Legacy logo, which is that. And you may want to, okay, how do I go back here?
Mike, I know you listed all those things, but, I mean, some of you have probably already been to like places where they don't really have access to clean water. I had already been there, but the last day that we were in Malawi, we went to, the village that their
Where's it?
water well had been broken. It was much further away, and their water well had been broken for like years.
Yeah.
And the other ones we helped with had been broken for months.
Very.
And that one, there was a I felt like a stark difference in the quality of life and the health of the people. Like, so many more people were sick.
Yeah.
They also we followed them to, Mike always asked, and he told all this, to go to the water source at every village, like the one they use when they don't have a well. And it was the longest one. And so I'm sure they don't go as.
Yeah, we
as
walked down to
often.
a river somewhere. Yeah, I remember that.
And they had less children, because at the other ones, there was just like an insane amount of kids. And so.
Because they were healthier. They didn't,
Yeah,
not as many
because-
had died probably.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And they just weren't as happy in general, like, so you could like feel it. I mean, not that that was specifically just associated with water, that could have been other things too. Interestingly, that's where I ate with the cheese and his wife or what. I was like, God will take care of my stomach.
So,
But-
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was just like very visible, you know, the health reasons, let alone
Mhm.
washing clothes and being able to bathe and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it keeps this water that we drink, keeps us safe and healthy all the time. as far as, bacterial infections. And that, I think that's one of the, probably the number one killer of children under 5 throughout the entire world is dehydration from diarrhea and parasites. So, you could weave that into the story. I want to say water the facts. That might be the one that talks a little bit about that. Yeah. Globally, about 1 billion people in the world lack clean drinking water. In Africa alone, it's about 300 million. And the sources are UNDP and WHO, the WHO. And the illnesses are diarrhea, cholera, typhoid, malaria, schistosomiasis, I don't know how to say, hepatitis, dysentery, intestinal worms. So, I mean, there's a lot of facts here. And then in a little continuation on page 2 there. And then you can look at just the Malawi statistics. Okay, it's a little out of date. Last time I updated this was 2020, when we had the population of Malawi was 19.6 million. It's probably over 20 million people now. Most people in Malawi live in rural areas, 85%, and 52% live on less than $1 a day. In 2008, and there was an estimate of 7,500 to 10,000 wells were broken in Malawi. So anyway, there's some good statistics there. You can weave some of that into your fundraising letter. Here's some photos. There's some photos down here you could use if you want to. I have some too. You just email me, hey, Mike, you have a really good photo of such and such. And if there's not one out here, you can, you can get it from me. So let me see here. Let me minimize this. What time do you have to leave, Melanie?
4:45.
Okay, got a few more minutes. Okay, I've showed you the 2 websites. Child Legacy, to kind of get jazzed about just everything they do, and obviously there's stuff about clean water there too. And then I showed you the Clean Water Climb backpack, the backpacking specifically. But you can see where your bio is going to go out, into one of these teams here. South America, we've 35 people going. I think we've got bios from like 10 people. So we have a lot of work to do. It's going to be Patty bugging people. So action items or questions. Let's just, I've been rattling on, and I should have said interrupt me anytime to ask a question, either Zoom land or here. Question about fundraising or comments.
Crowdfunding, there's a crowdfunding app.
Mhm.
For certain things. Has anybody tried that, and has that been successful?
You can't get a deduction.
You can't get that. You have to get the tax deduction. Yeah.
You can't get the tax deduction using crowdsourcing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. That's a good question, though.
all right.
Any other comments or questions?
Well,
David, I know a few years ago put together a thing called factoids, and just some basic stuff.
that was really, really effective.
It wasn't.
Like if you give $1,250.
Yeah.
It provides it provides clean water.
Yeah.
For 10,000,
Whatever. Yeah.
1,000 people for 10 years or whatever it is, 2,000 people for 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you have that on there, but.
I'm going to see.
It's a big
It's
counter.
not on the website, but I think I should put it there. Let me see if I have a copy of that. Yeah. Well, water the facts. That's not it. David Klein. Yeah, I have something here. I think I used it for a couple of
You
times.
did. I think you.
And this is my little factoid sheet that I did in 2020. So it was 2-sided. The back side was the map, and the front side were all these facts. And I said in 2020, Climb was going to be dedicated to my autistic daughter, Melissa, who always prays for me just before I leave for Africa. I mean, it's so amazing. She knows this is the last time she's going to talk to me. She said, Dad, I want to pray for you. And it's the most amazing prayer. It comes out of this autistic young lady. Okay, so I dedicated it to her. 2021, we dedicated it. I dedicated the Climb to an orphan in Zimbabwe. That Child Legacy, was part of the orphanage, and she died. She was born with HIV. And one day before her 20th birthday, she finally succumbed to AIDS. So I dedicated my 2021 Climb to her. But anyway, a $2 donation provides clean water for 3 people for 5 to 10 years. 1250 restores an entire village or school, about 2,000 people. That's about 1950 now. Clean Water Climate is funded. So this 2,493. Actually, we've now broken 3,000. Maybe I'll try to spend some time and update this and put it on the website, and then you can adapt it. Maybe I'll put the Word document out there because you can't edit a PDF very easily. I'll try to put this out there, kind of a factoid thing. And then my personal goal was listed there. And then here's that list. Remember I told you in your, and so I didn't do it in the fundraising letter. I had this separate document called factoids. I said I needed one $20,000 donation. I needed one $10,000, two $7,500s, four $5,000. This was to get to 200,000, right? And by the time you get down, into this part of it, I needed 20 $500 donations and so on and so forth. So that added up to, 200,000. And then I had my letter. It said, please read my letter. And my letter was called Finding Your Calling. And then I had websites there and all kinds of stuff. And of course, the map in the back. I'm going to try to update this. I'm going to minimize it so I don't close it and then totally forget. I'll try to update that for 2021 as a Word document, and I'll put it on, we'll have Bill put it on the website, and you could download it and then adapt it to your own specific goals. And maybe you want to dedicate your hike to something.
There's another thing too that was very successful, and that is when I had one fundraiser, I used part of it or earmarked part of it to buy 500 Bibles in the Shawan language.
Yes.
So, you can say, I want to raise $5,000. If you give me $1,000, that will pay for X number of Bibles. And you can earmark and say the money will be used for something, Bibles or a water pump or whatever else. People like, as you say, people like to know their money goes for one specific thing rather than to a big pot. And if you say, every $10 you give me buys a Bible that we can in Chichewan language it can be given.
But that's over and above.
But
right,
I think
Mike?
that would
Because
be
you asked
that would
us
be
to raise
separate.
money for
Yeah,
it.
that would be separate from Clean Water Climate. I think what you did is you made a separate donation yourself,
I did.
and maybe people donated to that. But I think this is all going to be just for clean water. But if you say, hey, for every $1,000, I'm going to put in 100 to buy Bibles or something like that.
Yeah, that's it.
Kind of a matching thing.
You match it for
Yeah.
something, for
Right.
some specific.
Yeah.
And for faith-based
If you could,
donors,
yeah.
that really has.
Yeah.
That really has pizzazz.
Yeah. We could do that. That's certainly fine. I mean, put that in the letter too. So action item, any other questions or comments?
Yep, I'm full tonight. So the other one is, you mentioned, if it's $1,250 for a well. If you give an extra $250, we'll make a plaque and put it on that well. So that plaque will be put on that well. That
we
way,
still doing that?
when you visit Malawi, you might go see your well.
Well, okay, if you want to do that.
I'm just throwing out.
Yeah, I know. But those plaques, I guarantee they'll be gone the time before we even leave Malawi. Some kid will pry it off.
Okay.
That's the only thing about that, I just know that would be.
But Anna, is she still on there?
Yeah, Anna, you still on there?
I don't see her.
No, she's gone. No, so Anna,
She
yeah.
took, yeah. go ahead.
she had little plaques made with the names of
Like
the
nice
owners,
ones like you
and she
described.
put it on there and took a picture of it. So
Okay.
even though it never stayed there, there was still a documentation with the well itself and a picture of the donor.
Yeah.
Yeah, or,
Yeah.
or you can carve a little stone that'll be put as a footstone in the ground in front of that well.
So you don't have to go to Malawi and do all this,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna carve any stones.
Twice,
What? I know.
So, no, just once.
I tell you what, take the stones to Israel and go up on that mountain and see if
See if they get
God will
zapped, see if they.
will engrave it for you.
Yeah, I think that lightning would go through the stone.
Any other questions?
I was just gonna say the sponsoring a whole well is like a big incentive for some people.
Yeah, it is.
And even if they can't afford the whole $1,250, like doing it, asking a group.
Yeah.
or whatever, right?
We-
That
yeah.
seemed to be like
Yeah,
a
for,
big
so
incentive.
for Manny, who went
For
to
your own
Kilimanjaro last year, had like 4 or 5 different family members with different last names, so I didn't make any connection at all, I had no idea, but together they donated $1,300, and he said, can we do a well report that says the such and such family and friends? I wouldn't have made the connection that these people were, unless he had told me that. So yeah, a group, a family can get together like that, or a group of friends say, hey, we want to sponsor a well, and then you'll get a well report. They'll get a well report.
You get like.
Yeah, and Melon, or Mike and Melanie, I've had 3 wells come out of people I didn't know, so there is some incentive for the well
Yeah.
sponsorship.
And you get a T-shirt. I know you've given in the past T-shirts to.
Well,
What the dynamic.
yeah, we used to give the T-shirts and stuff out to all the donors, but it got to be impossible getting people to respond to emails like, what's your shirt size? It was so tedious, we finally gave it up. We only give these, and we're gonna be giving polo shirts for last year. T-shirts and polos only to corporate sponsors and participants.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Or prints, how much does it cost to make a print?
Oh, not too much.
Now prints, you could say, look, you sponsor a water well, we'll give you a print of an original. People like to have something, then all of a sudden when they say, look, where'd that come from?
Right.
Did that?
Everyone over 150.
We'll get something.
Will get something.
But as far as the prints go, I mean, that would be an individual thing that you would want to do for your donors, right? So for my donors, I don't know if you can see this over here, take a look at it later, but for 2020, I had this painting done by the Malawian painter, and then I had it scanned down in Houston and prints made and gave out to all my donors.
I think we're all too busy to,
Yeah.
each one of us individually is probably too busy to give something to our donors, 10 or 15 donors. But if we did it for collectively all the donors, so that all the participants could have 10 or 15 prints to give to their donors.
Yeah, that's a possibility. We should talk about that some more.
Okay.
Okay, so any other comments or questions?
For those bio and photos, we just email them straight to you.
Yes. And anything else?
Is there a word length limit on the bio?
You could make it a book if you want.
Like you.
Nobody will read it. Yeah, like me, I make a mini book. Yeah, I'm too wordy. Don't use me as an example.
No, it's very nice bio. I love it.
So action items, the photos and the bio, probably number 1, and then use that, once that's done, then use that as a starting point for your fundraising letter. And next meeting, I want to go over hiking equipments for all the trips, really. And so I'm thinking Saturday the 12th, maybe about the same time and here, would that work?
February?
Yeah, in February 12th, yeah. Does that seem reasonable to everybody? Okay. It's not always, I mean, Kilimanjaro is kind of probably more hiking equipment than any of the other trips. So by going over that, and then we can also say, well, you don't really need this for Everest Base Camp, and you really don't need this for Machu Picchu. So we'll try to go over all 3 of them, but I mentioned the crosses and the stars. I'm gonna have Jennifer take a group picture of us before we close. Anything else, though? I'm trying to think of, I know. For those who can stay, I know Mel